Hello and welcome to Friday with the Chakontas. I am Mr. Chakonta
And I'm Mrs. Chakonta.
and we're back with FWTC Reacts.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you haven't yet subscribed, please don't forget to subscribe. Feel free to follow us on all our other platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, as well as Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube Music.
Yes. And exclusives are on YouTube first on a Friday.
Every Friday.
As much as we can.
Yes,
So, yeah.
yes. We were a bit on a break a few weeks ago, but we're back.
Yeah. So, yeah, we have a new dilemma.
A situation for you. So it goes like this. I have a situation. I have been married for over 15 years and we have 3 children. My husband and I work, so everything at home was done by the maid. We then decided that my young sister moves in with us so she can equally help around the house. Fast forward, owing to the fact that I was always working, I would assign my young sister to take care of my husband's needs, such as to cook for him when he gets home, wash his clothes, etc. During all this time, my husband and my young sister became very close such that they started doing almost everything together, like going to the market. Everything came to light when my young sister sent my husband a text message saying that she was pregnant for him. And this is a message I got to read, and that's how I found out about their relationship. This is where all the trouble starts. We called in our elders, who are his uncles and Bashibu Kombe, to try and resolve the matter, but to no avail. It has now gotten to a point where my husband says he no longer has feelings for me, claiming that I have failed to perform my wife duties properly because I'm always working and my young sister has been taking care of him, so that he now wants to marry. So he now wants to marry and settle with my young sister. He says he is willing to do anything and everything to see to it that they end up together. And this is something he disclosed even to our elders who were involved. So this is my situation. Should I let him go ahead and settle with my young sister, or should I stay and fight for my marriage? Before we move forward, I will explain what Shiwukombe is. It's somebody who is usually, well, in Zambian tradition, it's a man who is usually selected prior to a man getting married, and that man acts as his representative when going to ask for the lady's hand in marriage, like before the official signing. So it's like part of the traditional marriage. They help to represent you as a bit like a solicitor. Yeah, they help to represent you when you're going to get married, when you're trying to ask for the lady's hand in marriage, and then they can also remain part of your life and can help you with any challenges that come about during marriage as well. Hence why in this situation they were called to the table.
Yeah.
So have I explained it?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So my darling, would you like to start?
Yeah. So there's a lot of things in this relationship, and first starting with the aspect of why did the husband feel the need to go in a particular way that is against the vows that he made. And I'm looking at it from a biblical perspective and saying, look, there's a side of where we who make our decisions as we're getting married need to understand that there are roles that we're playing in the home, as well as also the roles that we play in the marriage. If I am committed to the marriage, I'm committed to the success of our marriage and how we should glorify God in each and every avenue. I don't know where where things broke down.
The imbalance.
Yeah, where the things broke down. And here is coming on the aspect of the woman's desire to work.
Yeah.
That's how it's coming from this situation. But I don't think that's an excuse for bad behavior on that situation. But I also think there also has to be a level of where the woman now has to take stock from herself and understand that some bad behavior are encouraged by certain behaviors that maybe a woman would want to explore.
Mm.
Do you agree with that?
Some bad behaviors are encouraged by certain behaviors that a woman would like to. Oh, no. I think I get what you're saying, but I wouldn't say working is a bad behavior. By certain things that one might try to explore.
Yeah,
maybe
but
it's a better sentence.
the problem I'm having here is she basically outsourced her wifely duties.
Oh, I thought you were talking about work because you started off with work. So I'm still on the brain of work.
But it shows her attitude of saying, I need to work, so I need to outsource my duties in the home to somebody else. And with that situation, and I'm saying we do that.
Yes, we do. I was just gonna say, babe, I don't think
we can easily get
outsourcing is the main problem.
No, but the problem is now we're saying outsourcing also comes with an aspect of danger. With sometimes maybe we outsource with the understanding of there's an agreement between the two of us that we're outsourcing, and this is beneficial for us. But let's say, for example, if you are the one who's insisting, I need to work.
I'm telling you mean.
Yeah, I'm telling you we're okay.
And
you are saying, no, I need my freedom and I need to do A, B, C, D.
And everything else, I'll outsource it.
I'll outsource it. We can outsource it. We can get a maid. So maybe let's say I agree and say with the maid. Okay, that's okay. Now you said the maid is too expensive. Let me find cheaper labor.
Yeah.
My sister is just finished school and everything like that. So why can't she come and stay with us?
Yeah.
And that's okay. Because let me finish. I'm saying because I also think there's another aspect of we can invite people in our home and we shouldn't think of them as threats.
How Monday these days is hard.
No. But the question is
that should be their mindset.
As believers, we should have that aspect of.
It should be.
We have to be charitable to other people, especially if they need help and they need certain things. But I think there also has to be a level of caution.
Yes.
Because I think there's some people who just have got really bad behaviors that we need to say, that bad behavior is not going to work into our home. Because I think there was a story where like an uncle invited his nephew to come and stay with them. He gave him rules and says, you don't bring girls here. You don't do any drugs like smoke or anything like that, because once we have those situations, we'll have a problem. And the boy went and did those things. And the uncle basically came and said, look, I had an agreement with you. You have to understand I love you. But the problem is your actions are now becoming a problem in my marriage. And me, I want to live at peace. Based on that, you have to go. I have to protect my marriage on the basis of I love you, but what you're doing what you're doing is disturbing our marriage. And I think those are certain things maybe we also have to have another aspect of also in our relationships as people who we invite into our home. These are the rules. And if these are the rules, we need to abide to those rules. Because if you don't abide to those rules, I love you, but you have to go. And I feel like the problem we have, especially when we have this sentimental aspect towards our family members and everything like that, to the point of where we will accommodate bad behavior from our family members to the point of where we end up breaking our marriage on the basis of you're letting everything go. That's my child. Let's say if you've got a child outside the marriage before you got married, you now we've had this conversation.
Yeah.
And sometimes there has to be a level of where for the protection of your home, you have to be able to basically say somebody has to go.
Yeah.
The problem I have in this situation is she comfortably outsourced the aspect of her wifely duties.
Yeah.
And on that situation, she was comfortable doing that with trust that her sister would not do anything that was this. But again, this is what I'm saying. Don't do certain things to the point of where I'm not saying don't trust you. Let's say, for example, hypothetically that the sister was okay and nothing happened and she was able to just do those things to help her sister. But I'm also saying, but that is also wrong. She should know where the limits are.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be working to the point of where my homely duties are neglected.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing anything and I'm able to watch this. If that's the situation that we're doing, we both have to agree. Because here it sounds like they didn't agree.
I disagree.
Yeah.
But I disagree that it sounds like, for me, it doesn't sound like they disagreed.
Yeah.
That's the part which I disagree. And unfortunately, we don't have the full details of how they came to the conclusion that they needed a maid and how they came to the conclusion of the sister. So yes, if it happened based on how you said it, I completely agree. But the way that I read it, it doesn't sound like there was a disagreement. So I completely agree with you. I think it's so easy for us to now start saying, oh girl, you shouldn't be working. Oh, your sister is evil, all of that stuff. But the bottom line is, and I think you started with it at the beginning, is this man made a vow. He made a commitment and he broke that commitment with infidelity. And here, yes, we can, there's certain things that can sort of fuel or help someone go in that direction. And these are the things that we will obviously, you've addressed already with the woman outsourcing. But I feel like when I read this, you know, it's so easy sometimes when you see something and you start blaming yourself and you fully embody it. And she starts saying, it is my fault that my husband cheated on me. And I think that is completely wrong. I think that, yes, there are things that she did that contributed to this, but I wouldn't go as far as saying it is your fault. The fault is the man's, because no matter how, let's say they'd even had discussions and tried to tell her, babe, you need to cut down. I need you more. I need you more. I need you to be at home more. I'm really struggling with this. Like we had in the previous story, they're going to be challenges, but those challenges in a relationship don't mean that now we have to break our vows.
I agree with what you're saying. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that you know this is something that could have been dealt with before it even got there. Now we don't know the full extent of how this was being dealt with. Whether it's just that she was just, you know, getting herself more busy and just thinking, okay, I need to do this. This needs to be done. Okay, my sister, okay, I don't need to pay for rent. She can come. I'll pay for her school fees, blah, blah, blah. And at the same time, she can be helping me out with the kids. We don't know the full ins and outs. But the way I've read it as somebody who is carrying, and again, it's just the way I've read it, carrying the burden, like it is my fault he cheated. And I think, yes, you need to take responsibility for some of the things that you did that helped to contribute kind of. I think you said this good phrase before.
Let me stop you there. Why do you feel that it is wrong for her not to? Maybe explain to me why. What do you understand in saying it is my fault?
I feel like it is my fault should only be carried in this situation if she took the man, put him next to the woman, and made them lie together. I think for me, when
that's your definition.
Yes, that's what I'm defining as her carrying it and saying it is my fault. I think here and I liked the way you started with it, because it is so easy, because we are gonna dive into the woman and her neglecting her duties, and she understands that, and the way she's
I don't think she's saying that.
I think she has. I'll show you, because even the way it reads, it doesn't even read in any way that, you know, my husband cheated on me. I'm so heartbroken that he cheated on me. I can't believe he'd go this far to do something like this. It reads as a woman who has fully embodied and taken responsibility and saying, it is my fault that my husband cheated on me. Even from the beginning, that's how I read it. So she starts off by talking about, my husband and I work, so everything at home was done by the maid. There you go. We decided, actually that helps us, because it says we decided. So it wasn't that she decided. We decided my young sister moves in with us so she can equally help around the house. Fast forward, I would assign. So she paints a picture of what she did wrong. She shows us from the very beginning that this is what I have done to contribute to the situation that we're now in. So even from the beginning, the woman has clearly laid it out. And I feel like that's why I'm coming out with this passion and this emphasis of saying, girl, like, I think she's had that realization, that reflection, and thinking, okay, whoa, I know what I did was wrong. Like, why did I allow my sister to do this? Why did I allow a maid? Why was it that I allowed work to overtake? All of those things are true. But even the way she's written it makes me feel, as I said, that this woman is taking full responsibility for something that she should not be taking full responsibility, regardless of how she contributed towards it. She not commit a sin by, going to work and doing all these. But these things, yes, we understand that the different things that attribute to to challenges in marriage, to infidelity. It could be in different ways. It could be in how the different things that, when it comes to certain things, it's not always one-sided. But I do feel like when it comes to the commitment of marriage, the commitment was broken by the man. And so I wouldn't want her to, even when moving forward regarding, we'll get back to how she moves forward, for it to just be a matter of, I did wrong, it was my fault. No, it wasn't fully your fault, because this man had the responsibility to come and tell you and say, look, and like you said, we don't know the discussions they had. Did he now communicate to her and say, babe, I don't think you're home enough. I am missing you. I am missing the connection. I feel like we're just living life. Because she didn't go out. Yeah, maybe her way of cheating. Because sometimes work can be like a cheat wife. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can cheat with work, but obviously you don't classify it as infidelity, where you spend too much time at work, but actually you're giving it too much more emotional and physical affection than you are in the marriage. So we don't know whether he communicated these things to her. We don't know whether he told her, okay, look, the moment he started to see her sister as a potential, whether it was before, because there's a chance he saw this before she even came into the house. So whether it's before she came into the house, and if it is before she came and lived into the house, he should have put a stop to it, because it says that we decided, because that was a threat, that was a temptation that was now coming into your house. If it just occurred when he was in the house, he should have now sat down and said, I am being tempted. And I know it's difficult. I would never want to have that conversation, but I'd rather you have that conversation with me than now come and tell me that my sister is pregnant with your child. So had that conversation. I don't think your sister should live with us anymore. We also don't know how the sister used to live. There's so many things missing. Like, did she tempt the guy? Sometimes your relatives, sometimes your friends, and the friends that shouldn't come into your house, and your relatives that should not come into your house in this matter. So you don't know. So perhaps we don't know the character of this person. So it's not everybody who needs it's not everybody who you need to open the door to your house to. You need to understand the character of these people, how they are, how they view marriage, because some people don't respect marriage. But in all honesty, it could be just an innocent situation where the young sister did not view him in any way, shape or form. But the moment even this is why there's so many levels here. The moment where the young sister started to develop feelings for her sister's husband was a moment she needed to go back or talk to her sister that I need to find a way out. Or we don't know who started with who, but this sister is a problem also. I mean, we haven't dealt with her yet, but we'll deal with her later, because I don't know what sister. We'll deal with her later. So now that's my point. I've gone from saying the main thing I think is the fact that he broke the vow. But let's go back to her, and she has highlighted clearly, and I think she has reflected on how she contributed to it.
Okay, let me interject, because I feel like you are very soft on her and
I haven't gotten there yet.
Okay, go ahead.
So you can interject. I don't mind. You can say something. Yeah. But my point was, I was on the man first, because I feel like the man needs to get it first. Yeah. And I think I've learned this from you, and I feel like if you're gonna disagree with me, babe, we're gonna have to go back to all these podcasts. You're gonna say, this is what you usually say in our podcast. You say the one holding the commitment before God in a situation like this is the man, not because he's the one who's cheated. So he's the one who's broken the commitment before God. The young, so we can't even, the young sister is something else, but we can't even put her in there in this situation yet, because she has not broken any vow, except many vows that unspoken vows that she's broken. But that's why I've gone to the man first, because you say it.
That what?
You say that in this situation, the man is accountable because he has broken his vow before God, his marriage covenant.
And this is what I'm saying. I'm not against that. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying yes, he has broken the vow and the covenant that he made between the two of them and also with God. And I can't run away from that. That's true. But also on the other side, I'm saying, when you were saying an issue about where she's saying it's my fault and everything like that, I'm saying you need to feel that way, because you need to also understand where the responsibility, it's not like fully your fault, yes, but she also needs to understand, what have I done wrong here? Because I feel like there's an aspect of where we take out blame.
No, she still needs to hold some responsibility.
Yeah.
Although I know you might not agree with me here.
Yeah.
I feel like she holds a lot of responsibility, and I can see it, but I would still give a higher proportion of the responsibility to the man, because there were stages to these things.
No, but okay.
So why did the thing is, I'm not even defending her.
Okay, I'll come to you on that situation.
I'm not defending.
Where, like, let's say for example,
because you haven't allowed me to chastise her yet.
Yeah, but okay, go and chastise her. Maybe you have a way of saying something, because there's one thing that I feel there can be a rebuttal towards something here.
Yeah.
And I think that, you want me to say it or do you want to continue?
No, I want to chastise. No, you can say it, but
Yeah.
I still haven't. I know I talked a lot, but that was only for the guy.
Yeah.
I haven't had my share for the woman yet.
Yeah, okay.
But
So
continue.
what I'm trying to say here is, in the situation, like, like some people would say, like Titus 2.
Mm-hmm.
Women should stay home and manage their home in a particular way. So we've agreed that Titus 2 and Proverbs 31, that's a decision that the household will come to, and they will find a way of how to navigate that. But the issue is here, even though you're doing that, in both situations, you're not neglecting your home.
Yes, she did neglect her home.
And I'm saying that is where I feel like she should now look at, not on the aspect of my husband cheated, but I'm saying I neglected my home to the point of I neglected it so much to invite all these things so that I can continue to live the way I want to live, which I thought was the best thing. That's her accountability.
Yeah.
I agree on the side of, his side is, regardless if my wife is doing this thing, my wife hasn't done about, okay, look, I'm struggling with this situation, but I have made a vow with God. And from this situation, I feel like even this man, I don't even know why his relationship with God is, because it's like he's thrown everything outside the window to the point of where he's like, he doesn't care. He just wants the young sister.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that is problematic.
Yeah, he's a problem. He's a huge problem, because anyway.
Yeah.
So back to the woman.
Yeah.
The woman, I agree. She did neglect her home, and and I think it can be very difficult in this day and age. We women, a lot of women work. A lot of women contribute to the home financially, as well as managing that. And the balance can be difficult. And sometimes men don't also understand, because sometimes, there's this phrase which we laugh about and say, I think we're talking about the married bachelor for the guy. There's this phrase where we say, not a phrase, but where men want a woman who works, but they want a woman who works at home as well. So like, there's this thing where men acknowledging that women have to, they love the fact that the woman is bringing in some money financially, but at the same time, they still want that to be treated the same way they would be treated should the woman be at home full time. But you can't get both. You can't get a situation, it's difficult. You can't get a situation where I'm working Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and most of the 9 to 5 jobs these days are not 9 to 5. And most of the people at work in general, whether they're men or the women, they're stressed at work. Not many people are enjoying work. Work it's very few people, I think, you find enjoy work. So, but that's just my opinion. I've not looked at any studies or anything, but let's just say working 9 to 5 by itself is a lot. On top of that, you now have the affairs of the home. And let's look at this. The affairs of the home used to, being a housewife is no joke. The affairs of the home used to be proper full-time, 24 hours a day. So how are you supposed to do all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the shopping, all the ironing, all the children, and she got 5 kids, all the children, rearing as well. Well, I don't mean rear, like, when you're pregnant, it's even harder for some women. And then on top of that, you have to look after baby. Then you have to look after this baby who's a baby. It's almost impossible. You cannot, it's literally almost impossible. But as women, we have that, a lot of us women have that I can do attitude, and we're hard workers. We'll go ahead and we'll do it. We'll look after our home, and we will do the house, and go and find work.
Mm-hmm. So my question to you, so what are you gonna do? Are you going to outsource?
Yeah, but my thing is, sometimes outsourcing is helpful because you can't balance all of those, and outsourcing should also happen through discussion with your partner. And I feel like this woman, the way she's described, she said, we discussed with my sister. So they outsourced a maid, and then they wanted the sister to come, and that was after discussion with the man. So I think at that point I'm sure at that because I don't know how long this has been going on for, but the way it reads, it's like it's been going on for a long time. Mm-hmm. So even by the time they got to outsourcing the sister, mm-hmm. I think at that time she was very busy still at work. I'm just assuming. Mm-hmm. That's why they needed more help, because mm-hmm. they were not, even with a maid, they were still not able to do everything that needed to be done to make their home work. Mm-hmm. But at that point, the man could have said, no, I think, it's better for you to cut back. And maybe she said, no, I don't want to cut back. I want to be empowered. That's something that she can reflect on and think back on how better she could have handled the situation. But I think we are being forced to not forced, but outsourcing is becoming more of a common thing now, in terms of getting a maid if you can afford it, or getting someone to help you with certain chores, because it's so hard for us to balance both. And unless you have an understanding husband who is also helpful, because I'm just wondering, I'm like, yes, we can say the woman was neglecting her duties, and there are certain, but the thing is, these duties, right? They're duties that I'm trying to find a way how to explain it. Mm-hmm. Because you can say, yeah, you're neglecting your duties. Now, it'll be really good to have, and she's given an idea of some of these duties, actually. Mm-hmm. She did say, such as to take care of my husband's needs, such as cook for him when he gets home, wash his clothes, mm-hmm. And those are some of the examples. I'm like, so some of these things, couldn't the husband also help with?
Yeah, Ruth, look, from a biblical perspective, I agree. A husband can do that, but it is the prime responsibility of the woman to be a homemaker.
But my point, and I don't, like, for example, mm-hmm. a lot of women, myself included, mm-hmm. I don't mind being a housewife, for example. Yeah. I don't mind. I would love to. I would love to be a homemaker. I would love to stay at home and do all these things.
We're not saying that. We're saying the homemakers have been, we've got two incidents.
Yes.
Of where, like, even the woman who is entrepreneurial, who's trying to go to the side of where she's trying to advance herself in, we're not saying the corporate world, or just finding ways. She's not neglecting her home. She's finding a way of saying, if I need to pursue these things, I still need to take care of home.
But babe, when we look at Proverbs 31 woman, she had servants in the house.
No, but she did not outsource the servants.
Of course she outsourced. That's what we mean by outsourcing. She got servants. She took care of her servant girls. She was a homemaker. She was an entrepreneur. She was working through her home. But in that, as a Proverbs 31 woman, she had servant girls.
Okay, let's read it.
Oh, maybe, I am ready to.
Let's read it, and now we can break it down on what we are saying, what her duties were. Mm-hmm. And how she conducted them in a manner that we feel did not go outside the boundary. Okay, sure. You want us to look at Proverbs 31? Yeah. Let's look at it. Read it, yeah. All right, I will go to Bible. Bible. Proverbs 31. Mm-hmm. Yes, defend me, Proverbs 31. We just read you. So we're going to start from Proverbs 31. Let me go. From 10. Yeah. A wife of noble character who can find. Mm-hmm. She is worth far more than rubies. Mm-hmm. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. Mm-hmm.
She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. She is like the mentioned ships bringing food from afar. She sets up while it is still night and provides food for her family and portions for her female servants.
No, what does it say?
On 15, babe.
15, what does it say? She rises while it's still night.
Yeah.
Provides food for her household first.
Yep.
And then portions for her maid servants.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with having her maid servants.
But that's my point, babe.
No, I agree with you on that.
My point
but
was,
I'm saying she's not outsourcing.
But babe, that's what outsourcing is. What were you talking about?
Outsourcing in the sense of, let's say, for example, her needs. I don't know what the maid servants are doing in this situation.
Yeah. In this situation, she told us she needed help with cooking,
cleaning.
No, cooking and washing clothes.
What here she's basically done? She's done the cooking.
Babe, I think we providing food and cooking it are two different things, darling.
So you don't think she cooked it?
No, I've never really sat down to think about it. But now that we're actually having a conversation, I've imagined this woman. I mean, what are the 7 girls doing there?
I don't know. Let's continue.
So she considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her tasks. She sees that her trading is profitable and her lamp does not go out at night. In her hand, she holds the distaff and grasps the spindle with her fingers. She opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. When it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. She makes coverings for her bed. She's clothed in fine linen and purple. Her husband is respected at the city gate, where he takes his seat among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies the merchants with sashes. Sashes, yeah. She's clothed with strength and dignity, and she can laugh at the days to come. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children arise and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive, and beauty is fleeting. But a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised.
Yeah.
Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate.
So we do not know exactly what the maid servants are doing.
But she outsourced, babe.
No, we're not saying outsourcing here.
But baby, what's your definition of outsourcing? Because I feel like we're missing each other here. Because
she's got responsibilities in the home.
Yes.
Based on Titus 2. To take care of her home and be a homemaker.
Yeah, Titus 2 wasn't working.
No. Let me finish.
Yeah.
Titus 2, that's her issue. And saying how does that now, what's this? You can either outsource, we're saying outsource on the aspects of these are the things that need to be done in the home. Cooking, cleaning and everything, and saying we can outsource those things. But we're saying for your husband, he's saying he values you doing those things.
But that's what we're saying. We don't know whether it was communicated.
Yeah, but let me finish on this other aspect. On Proverbs 31, we don't know if her maid servants are the ones who are doing the cooking and cleaning in the household, or they are the ones who are helping her with entrepreneur endeavors. Because you've seen there's a lot of entrepreneurial aspects she's doing.
Yeah. So she's whatever it is, whatever it is, she has helpers.
Yes, she has helpers. But my question is, I can't go away from the aspect of where she says she prepares the food and gives also to the ones who are what's this. She is, I don't know what 15, maybe read 15 again.
Well, my version says she provides food.
She provides food. So I'm saying for her, she
could have bought the food. She could have given the money to the servants to go buy the food.
Yeah.
And the majority of the time, if we look at the olden days, babe, most of servant girls used to work in the home. They used to work in the home, cleaning, cooking. Those were the main roles of servants. Servant girls.
Okay, but we're not even saying about the cooking and cleaning. Let's say, for example, on this situation, even though she's cooking and cleaning, she's basically outsourced the whole aspect of what needs to be done in the home to the point of where she just says, I don't want to do, and
but I think for
my hands
me,
are not there.
That wasn't what I was just bringing the point of. I don't even know it's like men want it all these days. Well, not all of them, I don't know, but I feel like some men want it all these days, but it's not feasible for us. We can't do everything. If you either want a Proverbs 31 woman or a Titus 31 woman, Titus Proverbs 31 or a Titus 2 woman. But the Proverbs 31 even had servant girls, had helpers. So you cannot expect in this day and age for us to fully be in the home 24/7 and to fully work 24/7. Like not 24/7, but you know what I mean, to have a full-time job and to be working. Unless maybe you have a part-time job and then you're part-time at home, but you can't do both of them full-time. But my point is that, so I think if this man has that expectation, then it's not fair on the wife. However, which I hadn't gotten round to, is I don't agree that she should outsource everything. That I don't agree with. I think there has to be a point where even when you also have to understand your man. Like, and this is where you can't copy other people's homes. Some homes, your man actually wants to cook food that's cooked by you. In some homes, they don't care. Some men would rather wear clothes that have been washed and ironed by their wife. In other homes, he doesn't care. So you got to understand and communicate. What is it that you love to see me do for you? Because it's true. She says, and I think this is where now I come and chastise her or say, you know, you miss, is that she says, I work so everything at home was done. So everything at home was done by the maid. And she said everything. So I'm like, no, you can't give your maid everything. You're basically handing over your full responsibility as a wife to the maid. You can, you know, and I think there are levels in these things that are being done. And some men, and I think this is why it's very crucial. It has to be communication. There has to be communication in your home. Yeah. Because some men will say, girl, I don't mind if who's doing the cooking, who's doing the ironing, who's doing the shopping, as long as you are home by 7 o'clock. And me, all I want is to spend time with you, whether we watch a movie together, whether we are spending the whole night in the bed. That's all. That for me is what I want. Yeah. I don't mind these other stuff, how they're done. And then it will be unfair if later on he now came back and said, oh, well, you never used to iron for him. It's like, well, but we had this conversation of what ticks for you, because we have to compromise. Because if you want me to work, but if he wants you to cook, clean, iron, be present in the evening when he comes back, be present for the children, then perhaps you can't hold down a full-time job. Perhaps you can't even not hold down sounds weird. Yeah. Perhaps you can't do anything else on top of that because you will crack. Yeah. So I think that there needs to be a level of flexibility and a level of understanding. But I also think as a woman, you also need to have full control of your home. Like, even when you have maids, you know, they are your servants, they are your workers to make your life easier. So you need to understand, well, I don't know. This is me. For me, I would want to still know what is in my fridge and what's in my freezer. So it's maybe I'll get reminded that the sugar is finished. But these are things that you have a full oversight of your whole house. Yeah. So that, let's say the maid calls in sick, you're not like, oh, where do we keep the sugar? Oh, I didn't realize there's no meat. Like, that's just me. Like, I would want you still need to know what is going on in your home. And I think for her, she over outsourced in this situation. I think especially when it got to, we're still talking, but I know I'm still in it. Especially when she got to a point where she could see it happening, and she saw her sister and her husband going to the market together. I'm just like, please explain that to me. Like, what did you see and how did it come about that they were both going to the market together? And I do believe as women have this intuition, or if sometimes it's not intuition, we're jealous. So even when something is, well, I don't say I say I'm jealous. Even when something is very platonic and there's nothing going on, I would just be like, so why didn't you ask me if we can go to the market? Yeah. So, okay, you went to the market. What did you guys buy? Like, what happened for you guys to go to? Okay, you went to the market once, fine. Like, I probably won't think about it. But if I'm now seeing a pattern, I'm like, this is not making sense. We need to have a chat. Why did you go to the market with my sister? I saw you went to the maid is there. Why did you have to go to the market with her? Why couldn't she go to the market alone?
Isn't it that the maid has left and now the sister?
No, the maid didn't leave. She just said, I think she said on top. Fast forward, wait.
I think it's like the maid.
We then decided that my young sister moves in with us so she can equally, it says equally help around the house.
Oh, so the maid.
So I think they still had a maid. Fast forward, owing to the fact that I was always working, I would assign my young sister to take care of my husband's needs.
Okay, maybe let me look at it. It's mainly like if the maid is still around, so the maid is doing all the other things, but then it's like you've given.
We needed more.
No, but then it's specific needs for the husband.
So she basically handed over her husband to her sister.
That's what I'm saying.
She said these are the needs of my husband.
Yeah, but let's say for example, he's communicated that and said these are my needs.
Mm-hmm.
I can get all these things, but these are my needs. And then she's basically, because I think there's also another side of where we need to be honest and say like living in a corporate world is very different than being an entrepreneur. And even let's say being an entrepreneur means sometimes you also have to work late. And we agree with that. Doesn't mean that you always have the free time to do A, B, C, D. When you're working for somebody, you're working at their time and you're working based on how they'll direct the narrative.
Yeah.
And particularly if like, let's say if she's coming with the angle of I need to get promoted to get to a point of where I need to elevate to a certain point, those are things that you guys need to sit down and communicate.
Yeah.
Because if one person is just progressing, because here in Proverbs 31 we have to say like, look, our husband is respected.
Yeah.
She values that the husband is respected in the city. She is saying, I'm going to live my life to honor my husband and elevate him in a way that he is respected amongst people.
Yeah.
And now the question comes to the side of, is her husband feeling respected in the home? Is he feeling that now if the dynamics of what, let's say for example, the dynamics of even though she gets more money, how is she channeling that respect to the husband?
Yeah.
Because for me, I'm just like, look, if I tell you that these are things that I need, and then because you make more money than me, and then you're going to say, look, I need to go to work in ABCD, so I'll find somebody to come and do those things for you. I'll feel disrespected.
Yeah.
Because I've asked you.
Yeah.
You're my wife. I didn't marry your sister. I didn't marry the maid. And I've said, these are my needs.
But why did he agree?
That what?
He's also a problem because he says we agreed.
He didn't agree about the outsourcing.
No, for the sister, yeah. It says we then decided that my young sister moves in.
That's not outsourcing.
That is still outsourcing, babe.
No, moving in and doing the deed is two different things.
But babe, it says we then decided that my young sister moves in with us so she can equally help around the house.
Yes, but then go forward. What does it say? What does she do with the sister?
She says, my husband worked, Fast forward, owing to the fact that I was always working, I would assign my young sister to take care of my husband's needs.
Always. Because
she's a problem.
She's the problem in saying she has basically opened the door that was not supposed to be opened in this situation.
Yeah, she did.
And take accountability for that. But I'm saying even though the door is opened, it doesn't mean that a man should walk into that door. And I think these are the things that people need to be able to understand in the dynamics of what's this. Because look, we know relationships. We know relationships where the wife is there working and the husband does not do anything. As in the husband, I don't mean like he doesn't work. He respects that his wife is a career woman and she's thrived in a career. But when the woman comes home, the woman knows what her responsibility is. She's not a boss in the workplace. And then when she comes home, she now starts saying, because I bring the most money, I dictate how things should be run. We've seen relationships like that, where the woman knows how to play her role effectively. If I'm at the office, I'm at the office. If I'm
basically what we had was a Titus woman the sister was now converted to Titus woman.
Ideally. And I'm saying that, and on that sense now and I think we have to go back, like, let's say, I don't want to be hypocritical because we looked at the other aspect of the story we did before. In the sense of, if this situation of her not doing this thing is only a fraction of 20% of the whole relationship, I do not think is the extremes of how he basically blew up the whole relationship based on that is not warranted. And I think sometimes as men, we get so insecure and we feel that this is something that we need to the point of forgetting, like, okay, I'm not struggling with working. I'm not struggling with whatever. My wife is bringing ABCD. It's a season. We can talk about these things. Okay, maybe she's a bit disrespectful. I can still sit her down and talk to her about these things. But for them, it's like we always go like the woman, other one was like, look, I'm not getting this, so I'll get divorced. So for him, it's like, I'm not getting this, so I'm going to go to the next person who will give me that.
Yeah.
And I'm
Because
saying,
I think this could have been, I mean, obviously, it depends if he was constantly talking to her about it. You get tired, but this is something that could have been resolved.
but it's not an excuse.
And I think as women, we need to put our homes as a priority as well. And I think, you know, it's so hard, to be honest. It is hard being a woman in this world, because we still have a priority in our home, and then when we go out there in the workplace, we want to do well. And society is pushing for women empowerment, and sometimes you can lose focus. And there are situations where, you know, women have relied on men and they've been burnt. You know, imagine she was, obviously we've had those stories where, you know, this was the situation and she wasn't working at all.
Yeah, and also the
and
other
then
side.
now you're like, he's like, I don't want you. He's clearly making it very clear. You've been living in this house. You've not got a penny. You don't have a job to go to. You are not working. And he's like, I don't want you at all. Yeah. So like, we've seen situations where women have now, you know, or have stayed in abusive marriages or stayed in marriages where they feel forced to, because they don't work and they're not empowered, and just trying to get that balance can be really hard. And I don't think there's an easy answer to it.
And also on the other side, of which we can also talk about, is like, look, we've also seen situations of where God allows the spouse to die.
Oh yes.
What do we do with that if the woman was just at home? And I think sometimes we also need to have an aspect of wisdom and trying to say that, look, maybe what our friends here in the West can manage, they've got different social safety nets and everything like that. We don't have that luxury. I know some people do it, and they'll be able to preach it and say, this is how we do it. I'm just like, but you've never lost a husband. So how are you going to figure that out? You've never been a single parent. How are you going to figure that out? And all that stuff. And I think here there also needs to be a level of grace either way, and understanding that, look, there are some social aspects that are happening. Yes, we're trying to live in a manner that we want to glorify God as best as we can. But we're also saying that we're living in a climate that is putting a lot of weight on us to basically say, for us to provide, I can't do it by myself. And we also now need to channel into other things of saying, God, you've given me a helper. How is she going to help me? Maybe helping is on this side of where she needs to work.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. But again, it's a whole debate, to be honest. It's a whole debate. There are different positions on this one, and I respect the different positions. And for me, the only thing I've only come to the other side is this decision needs to be between the two of you guys. Because if it becomes an aspect of where you want to listen to other people and saying they do this and that, they don't know the dynamics of what's happening into your home. And when you're making decisions, also be able to prove your home from areas where you feel that there will be pitfalls and there'll be certain aspects of where you need to be careful with. And I'm saying, like, let's say for example, like I think you're more on the side of where you feel, no, I don't want to feel uncomfortable. I don't want to do A, B, C, D. I'm more on the side of I can be hospitable and A, B, C, D like that. So now, how do we come to a compromise? And saying, like, let's say if we have a relative like your sister or something like that, and she's saying she needs help, and we're saying, okay, she can come and stay with us. How do we discuss that? How do we come to a conclusion of where we're saying, these are the limitations of where your sister has to be able to watch this? And I think we have to have boundaries.
Yeah.
And I think this is another time when we're inviting people, let's just not invite them on the sense of, oh, they're family and they can live freely the way they want to do. You need to have boundaries of certain things that people cannot do.
Yeah.
They need to have household rules. If you break these rules, you go. And that's why sometimes I'm a stickler for rules and saying, look, we have to have rules in the home. Because if we don't have rules, then everything will just be going in a particular way. And because if we're doing that, then it becomes an issue. If we're going to invite somebody into our home, we've got certain things of saying, in our home, we don't do this.
Yeah.
And if you're inviting your sister, I expect you to tell her what is not supposed to be done in the home. And yeah, so these are challenging aspects, especially when we live in the context of our homes. Like we come from African cultures where our African culture sometimes also excuses a lot of bad habits that we need to check sometimes. We have this culture of where we want to embrace everybody and everything like that, but not everybody who you embrace is going to take that embracing in a positive light. Some people who are just toxic and they just want to bring disunity in your home. It's not everybody who's family. It's not everybody who's got who loves you in a particular way of the love that you're showing to them. They'll also extend the same love to you. Some people are just dangerous. And because they're dangerous, you have to gauge and say, and all that stuff. And the problem we have is the same parents of the same girl who basically say, no, your sister, and the parents know that this girl is bad.
Yeah.
And then like,
send her.
maybe go and stay with your sister and help her out and then find her a job and everything like that. And I'm just like, and they're the ones who are basically help. And then because you're maybe the oldest or something like that, you're like, okay, I need to help my parents and ABCD. By helping your parents, you're also now distracting certain things in your home.
Yeah.
And those are the challenges that people have. Yeah.
It's true, man. Honestly, I don't think I have words for, we've spoken a lot. I don't think I have words for the sister, because that's another category all by itself. We'll have to have another story separately for someone like that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, your own flesh and blood, your own sister. It doesn't even need to be fine. You're called a sister.
Yeah, right now
you've earned certain rights, but what should this woman do? Because now she's saying, should I fight for my marriage to conclude, or should I let him be?
And I think sometimes, this is why we look at it from a biblical perspective. And I'm saying it's very hard for you to fight for something that somebody does not want to fight for. And somebody is basically pushing for divorce and everything. I'm saying this is now where it comes into different contexts. If you're believers, I think the challenge you have to go is invite people who are believers to speak into your marriage. If that person wants to divorce you, you can divorce. But
in this scenario, you can divorce.
You can divorce, but there are limits of your divorce. It means you can't get married again. It means if he wants to do his sinful things, you have to have the commitment of saying, Lord, I married this person and you have given me these limitations. Now, what do I do in this situation? And we also have to understand, like, look, sometimes as hard as we want to say this thing is, some people they get divorced because they can't watch this. And I think that's why there's a provision from a biblical, because of the stubbornness of our hearts. People will go to that situation, but God has also put limitations of what you do when you're divorced. It doesn't mean that you now start going to pursue other relationships and say, no, I was the one who was divorced in ABCD and all those things. I know there are different debates on that. People have got different situations or whatever. I feel I go on the side of where if you're divorced, these are your limitations and everything like that, even though you're not the one who channeled that in. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so, and maybe it will also be an opportunity for you to be free to do your entrepreneurial stuff and your working without the burden of the other things. But I'm not saying that's the reason. But I also say, if he's adamant on saying whatever, you can fight and fight and fight. Try to fight as best as you can. But there's a lot of mess right now.
Yeah.
And I think first thing is ask God for wisdom seek for counsel from people who are more spiritual and more wise. And if the situation is that he's not budging in every CD, I think sometimes it's just leave it to God and say, look, God, I've tried my best.
Yeah.
And he's still insistent on that. I'll still honor you. I'll still do whatever I can, but he doesn't want me.
Yeah.
You can't force somebody who does not want you.
No, unfortunately, you can't.
But also take accountability.
Yeah, and I think she has.
Because I don't think she has.
She's literally written it.
No, I think you're seeing it from an aspect of where she's what's this. I know she's written it in a particular way, but I think you were saying that you don't want her to feel like, oh, I'm the reason why my husband does that. There is an aspect of the reason why your husband has done that.
Well, I felt like she was just, because of how it read, I felt like she was taking full responsibility.
No, okay.
And saying
I
it's my fault because I did all of this and now he doesn't want me. What should I do? I know I did wrong, but now I've seen my wrong. What should I do?
And I agree with that. It's not fully her responsibility on that. It's not her responsibility that and all that stuff, but she also needs to have accountability. There's a difference between accountability and responsibility. You get me?
Is there?
Accountability and responsibility.
I didn't know.
Being accountable is saying, this is my part. Being responsible is basically saying, I'm the one, like let's say, for example, if we look at the story of Adam and Eve, there's an aspect of accountability and responsibility.
Okay.
Eve gives the angle of where she gives her husband the fruit. She is responsible in doing that. But Adam is accountable to reject it or not.
Okay.
But he yields to that temptation. And that's why they're both accountable on what their roles were, what their part was. Adam was on the side of where he listened to his wife and did not yield to the authority that God gave him. And Eve was given another punishment based on her deceiving her husband. But they both played the part. And Adam's situation of where we're saying, because even like when we look at the narrative, it's Adam who sinned because he was the one who was the head of the home. So yeah, maybe we can go to some comments. We can go on and on about this.
Yeah, deep one. There's nothing left to fight for. Those are two adults who have made their decisions. Carry out what is left of your dignity and start over.
It's easier said than done, but I can see where that comment is coming from.
Yeah. It says, you can only stay and fight if the other party wants to fight for it too. But in this situation, what are you fighting for? This gentleman does not want the marriage. He has clearly stated he wants your young sister. Just move on and find what truly makes you happy, because that marriage, even if you fight, are you willing to make it work and quit your career and perform wifely duties as your chosen hubby desires? Choose you, choose happiness, and move on.
Is this one why I say that so it's true, a soulmate can be found anywhere? That's, I think, just joke. And those are just jokes, I think. I just marry both. You are the working wife and she cares
for
the household, and the wife junior. No. I see why people come with these situations, but what we have to look at it from a biblical perspective. We're saying that
one man, one wife.
One man, one wife.
As much as you are a career woman, handling over your wifely duties to your younger sister was a mistake. There's nothing wrong with having young sister help out with cooking, but telling her to even do his laundry, no. I think this is where I'm like, well, some people will be like, telling him to do his laundry, that's fine, but cooking is a no. You get what I mean? I think this is very subjective. You need to know what actually is what counts in your home. You need to draw boundaries, but now that the milk is already spilled, it's either you accept her as your co-wife or you're divorced. Yeah.
I understand on what, like, some people, like, I know it's subjective, but I think traditionally, like, some people would say, like, washing clothes, especially like underwear and
maybe you're
like
thinking about underwear.
And they're like, those things
are like sensitive.
That's culturally. And saying that those things you can't, this is either the wife does it or he does it himself. I don't know what's, and saying that you can't outsource those things. That's on a cultural perspective.
Yes, you can. Culturally, I think underwear, someone shouldn't. I think clothes, yeah, but I think it's the underwear that you shouldn't allow someone to wash.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, any other comments?
So I like this one. So it says, this situation is tricky considering that this matter is beyond your control. Just as much as you contributed to this situation, it is not a justification for him to go for your sister. If he has some reservation about your busyness, he would have raised it to you or elders. Fighting for your marriage will imply you separate for marriage and you won't enjoy your marriage. You are separate. Let elders talk to your sister, not you, as now she is your opponent. Seek counsel so that both you and your husband are guided on how to manage differences. From husband to brother-in-law. Oh, God.
Yeah, these are challenging things.
Career women, you are such a big problem.
And I think, yeah, everybody will have something to say about this.
Oh, I like this one though. Yeah. I think this was, although like it's a joke, but I get it. It says, but why did he marry a working class? Some people like problems. There are women who are willing and happy to be a housewife. And I'm like, I think these are some, obviously we don't know the situation. We don't know whether she became more driven, but there's times where sometimes there are different characters of women as well, just as where there are different characters of men. Mm-hmm. There are women who would rather be more at home and the women who would rather be out working. And I think these are things that you can also discuss in courtship and establish before. So you know that she actually, because we know she can't do 100% of both, there has to be a percentage. So what percentage stays at home and which percentage goes out? So you knew that you were in agreement that this person, yes, I'm up for you. I'm up for women empowerment. You should go for that promotion. You should do it. Mm-hmm. Yes, babe, I'm supporting you 100%, blah, blah, blah. Yes, do it so we can build houses together, so we can do this together. But you don't realize that you saying all of that means that the other side might not be 100%.
Yeah. And I think sometimes we have this aspect of where, in relationships, we have to be very aware of our material ambition. If our material ambition becomes so driven to the point of where we are neglecting the spiritual needs of our home and things that need to protect our home to be healthy, we have to question those things. And I think sometimes we do that as men because we are thinking, oh, if you go and work, I am gain an X amount of money and we can build, we can do A, B, C, D and all those things. I'm saying, look, we can't sacrifice our marriage and the health of our marriage on the basis of us building materially. We know we need it, but it shouldn't be the end all and be all. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you've got a point. You've got another comment.
No. Oh, yeah. I was seeing another comment and I was like, oh. These people are going to, stories like this, it's like they want us to be, they want to turn you to be less hospitable. Now, before we were scared about maids, but now we're like, oh, even sisters, we should be worried. Come on, sisters, come on. Sort yourselves out. But I do think that, yeah, she did neglect her home and unfortunately it went the other way. But there could have been things, it could have been dealt with before it resulted in infidelity.
Yeah. And the husband, I'm not taking out, the husband has got his responsibilities. Doesn't mean that if your wife is misbehaving, you also need to misbehave.
Yeah. And
I think that's why we say the covenant that they have is not between just the two of you, it's also between you and God. Yeah. So yeah, we've gone above an hour.
Oh wow, that's it.
So yeah, we'll end here. And if anybody has come to the end, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and would like to also hear your comments
let us
about
know what
this.
You think, because yeah,
and let's see what you guys think about the whole situation. Like we always say, like, subscribe, and
share.
And until next time, take care and God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye.